guaranteed of free speech on misinformation.
If they don't moderate and monitor the content, we lose total control.
Our First Amendment stands as a major block to the ability to be able to just hammer it out of existence.
They are directly speaking to millions and millions of people without any level of oversight or regulation. And that has to stop.
Together, we can end free speech. Maha Alliance is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Good morning, Owasso. This is the Twins at the Owasso Live, and this is the Morning Loop. I couldn't think of a better way to start the show. I could not think of a better way to start the show than with that video, because that is so true. Again, the internet
There's no guarantee
has
to free
changed the way our medium works right now. The media, the mainstream media, had a monopoly on what information the public was allowed to see. It made controlling public perception very easy for them. Now with the internet, we can literally Google search whatever we want. You can pull up the actual raw footage of whatever video you want to see. So if you see, if somebody accuses a police officer of being racist, you can watch the full footage and be like, oh, okay, actually it wasn't a racial incident. The guy was just being a ridiculous butthole. So, but that's what the Democrats want. I mean, like I said, those people, all those, even Mitt Romney, Hillary Clinton, Tim Walz, Kamala Harris, especially right now, they want to control the narrative. They want to control the media. They want to control what information you can assume. And again, their media counterparts are more than happy to do it for them. It's a scary, scary world we live in, where we're only allowed to see the information that the elites and that the mainstream media and their Democratic allies want us to see. I'm not okay with that. I want to know the truth. The truth shall set you free, folks. So if you are just somebody who wants to be told what to do, if you're somebody who just wants to trust people, I don't trust people. I trust the Lord, and that's about it. I barely trust myself. So it's very scary, the world we live in today, and how the fact that a couple of years ago, nobody even gave a second thought to what the media was telling them. I mean, we all lived under the guise that, well, if it's on TV, it must be true. So, scary stuff. Scary, scary stuff. And so it kind of leads to our topic today. I told Chad, I watched that video like literally a minute before the show, because I sent that last week, and we just never got to it. But I said, wow, this is actually really relevant to your subject that you kind of made our thumbnail about. So if you see the thumbnail that Chad's got down there, it's no endorsements allowed for Washington Post or for the Los Angeles Times, which these companies are run by, obviously Owasso is owned by Jeff Bezos, and the Los Angeles Times is run by, who is this Asian dude that owns this thing, Chad?
Soon.
Soon.
His name is Patrick Soon-Shiong.
Patrick Soon-Shiong. So Shang Tsung owns it, right, Chad?
Yeah, old Shang Tsung owns
it. Shang Tsung. Excuse me. But so effectively, they told their editors and their publishers, they go, hey, you are not allowed to endorse any candidates. We're trying to make this, we're trying to make our news outlets profitable, because the more, the more partisan they are, the less credible their outlets become. And all of their editors and all of their article writers threw crap fits about this. They threw hissy fits about this. They are all the people that work at the New York Times and all the people that work at Washington Post are in an uproar, angry that they can't just openly support Kamala Harris in their articles, angry that they can't come out and say, this is who my candidate is. I understand their outrage to some degree, but I understand where the owners are coming from. It's like, look, Jeff Bezos and this guy bought dying media outlets. I mean, the mainstream, the newspapers are dying. I remember a couple years back, I went to a Christmas party, and there was a guy that was at this Christmas party who was, he worked for the Tulsa World.
Yeah, he worked for the Tulsa World.
And he was just, and he was asking me and Chad, because we were one of the younger guys there at this party, like, what do you do? How do you consume media? And I was like, man, I watch YouTube videos. I get my news from people like Tim Pool, Ben Shapiro. I get my news from other people like Matt Christensen. Like, I get my news from people that In fact, again, it's like, I don't know Ben Shapiro or Tim Pool on a personal level, but I've met people like Matt Christensen. So I know them personally, and I know that they're trustworthy people. So I get my news information and their public commentary from them. Because I trust that, I know they're partisan, but I trust them to tell the honest truth about what's going on. And I don't trust a random writer in the Tulsa World to do that. I don't trust the editorial board at the Tulsa World. It's just never anything that really appealed to me. I know my dad used to get the Tulsa World delivered to his house, or to our house when I was growing up as a kid. But I don't think he's been a subscriber for a long time. And again, this is what's happening. All these news outlets are dying, so you have these billionaires coming in and basically buying these organizations as tax write-offs, and then they're sitting there watching these organizations that they've bought just hemorrhage money, and they go, I need to turn this thing profitable, or I'm going to put it on the market and sell it again. So again, all these people are angry that they can't, all these employees are mad that we can't endorse Kamala Harris as our candidate, but the owners are like, I want this thing to be profitable, but they don't care. I mean, the people, this is how ideologically captured media is.
This is why mainstream media is dying. Like, as we've seen here, if you can go back and look at the endorsements of the LA Times and the Washington Post, some of them have been doing it since the 80s. I think LA Times has been endorsing candidates since the 80s, and the Washington Post has been doing it since the 70s. And I guess you can probably imagine which candidates they always particularly chose, which just goes to show you is, one, why are media outlets choosing to endorse candidates? I thought they were supposed to be neutral parties that are supposed to be the ones that give us the news and feed us the news. Mm-hmm. They are taking sides. They are literally taking sides. And these people are like, hey, we're not taking sides anymore. And I think it's because, at least in Bezos' case, they're afraid of what's going to happen
when Trump
after the election, because Trump is looking to be win by a landslide as of right now.
Yeah.
And then the other part of this is the guy that took over the LA Times, he's probably a little bit more honest. This
Soon-Shiong.
Yeah, the Soon-Shiong, Patrick Soon-Shiong. And all he said was, I want a breakdown of both presidential candidates. I want the goods and bads of both of them. And they refused. The editorial board refused. And they said straight up, we can't afford to play neutral sides in this election. Which goes to show you how partisan it truly is, at least the LA Times in this case. And these people are resigning over this. The fact that they can't talk negatively about Trump and endorse Kamala Harris. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, these articles are insane, just reading through them.
Yeah. And again, it's just, you can't trust the media. You can't trust these writers, because all these writers are all far left lunatics. I mean, I remember the last article I read from the Tulsa World was like something I just saw posted on Facebook, and I was just reading through, and I was like, this is liberal garbage. Like, this is just an opinion puff piece. But I mean, that's what they. Then I realized, it's like, this is what they're having to write in order to keep up with people like Ben Shapiro. But I mean, here's the truth: all these YouTube news outlet shows, even what we're doing here with this show, is a result of how bad the mainstream news is. Like Ben Shapiro, Matt Christian, Tim Pool, none of them would have taken off if the mainstream news was honest and biased and actually cared about the truth.
Unbiased.
Yeah, unbiased, and actually cared about the truth. They, Ben Shapiro comes out and goes, I'm partisan. I'm going to give you my political perspective on this, because I'm not going to pretend to be unbiased, because I don't think anyone is unbiased in the way they're going to present news or present an opinion, or how they're going to present this worldview. And people respect that, and then you have these media outlets that going, no, we're unbiased, we're nonpartisan, I'm Don Lemon, I trust the fact checkers and all this stuff. It's like, I don't trust the fact checkers, because it's just odd that, even when I was in college, I was just like, isn't it amazing that all the fact checkers and all these places, like, every time, like, I'm talking to somebody who's a left-leaning person, they go, all the fact checkers are on my side on this. And I go, isn't that convenient? I mean, it seems like on every single issue I've ever debated with you, the fact checkers are always on your side. And, to them, they just go, that's because you're wrong and you're right-wing and you're a nut job. And I just go, maybe it's because the fact checkers are biased. And of course, now we know the fact checkers are totally biased. Or they'll be like, again, the things they'll fact check will be like, is it true that Donald Trump did a backflip on Friday? And it's like going, while it's true that Donald Trump did perform a front flip, he did not perform a back flip, and he didn't do it on Friday. He did it on Thursday. So fact check, mostly false.
Yeah.
It's like that's the level. That's the level of fact checking that they've got going on.
Yeah. Who checks the fact checkers is always the problem that we've had. And as we find out, the fact checkers are extremely biased as well.
And again, it's like they will use weasel words and weasel language in order to give you the most misrepresentation of the fact check that they're giving you. It's like, by the way, again, it's like the Donald Trump doing a backflip thing. It's like, while he actually didn't do a backflip, he did a front flip, and he didn't do it Friday. He did it Wednesday at 12:32 a.m. It's like, oh wow. So it's true that he actually did some type of flip, but the way you fact checked it made it seem like it was actually false.
Yep, pretty much. That's what they do.
Scumbaggery.
And then next thing I have pulled up right here, if you can see, this also proves how the donation class and like how the media is all in with the Democrats is these are the top contributions to the Biden-Harris campaign and Trump's principal campaign in the 2024 cycle. So as you can see here, these results are as of September of 2024. As you can see here, Google over $1 million, almost $1.5 million to Kamala Harris. Microsoft over $700,000 to Kamala Harris. I don't know what Brown & Brown is, but they've done over $300,000. Johnson & Johnson, which is the vaccines, just shy of $250,000. Apple, Oracle, Wells Fargo, Nvidia.
I don't even believe these numbers. I bet you they've done more. And again, with Google and Microsoft now, so go up to Google. So Google's almost got like $1 million or over $1 million.
Almost $1.5 million.
That money is irrelevant compared to the Google search algorithms. Like, remember, if you Google Trump or Kamala Harris, you get 70% positive stuff about Kamala Harris and you only get a 40% search result positive for Trump. That right there, that little that percentage dividend right there changes perception. Again, if you Google, literally, Google it is a phrase that was not around 10 years ago.
Yep.
Google it is something you tell people now. If you Google it, you'll find the truth.
Yep.
And if they're in the algorithm, they push pro-Kamala stuff and anti-Trump stuff in the algorithms, Kamala Harris is benefiting far more from the stuff Google's doing behind the scenes than their actual money donations.
Yeah. And again, so let's keep going down the list. So let's look at, we'll just do media organizations or, information gathering organizations. So Google, number one, in which Google owns YouTube now. Mm-hmm. So you have to remember that. So Google and Microsoft. And then let's go down. I don't know what Brown & Brown is. Apple, you could argue, even though they're technically just, a technology company. See, Nvidia, technology. See, go down. Here we have Netflix, $125,000. See here, go down there, J.P. Morgan, over $100,000. See here, Amazon, just shy of $100,000. Facebook, one of her top contributors, just shy of $100,000. Pfizer, just shy of $100,000, and Disney, just shy of $100,000. And then we go over here to Donald Trump, his top contributor, American Airlines, for $130,000. That's his top contributor. Her top contributors are Google and Microsoft. Google over $1.5 million, and then Microsoft almost $800,000, just shy of $800,000. And then it's all working class stuff on Trump's side. Airports, Walmart, Boeing, Lockheed & Martin, United Airlines, FedEx, Wells Fargo. He also has Johnson & Johnson, but remember, he also supported Johnson & Johnson making that vaccine. But it's weird that Kamala gets more from Johnson & Johnson than he does. Like, that she gets just shy of $240,000.
Yeah, and this is just these giant companies playing the safe game, going, look, we donated to you too, Donald.
And he gets just shy of $60,000 from them.
Yeah.
Really weird. And like I said, but yeah, Brown and Brown, Johnson and Johnson, Wells Fargo, they both have some of these. Some of them are in and out of both of them. Costco, Delta Airlines. The airlines are after, and then at the very bottom down here, Home Depot. So it's like more working class job stuff for Donald Trump. That's who's supporting him. You wonder why the union man is switched over to the Republican Party. This is why everything over here on Kamala's side is vaccines and technology. Or some type of banking stuff, but I will admit, Trump has those too. Like, he has Wells Fargo as well.
But the donations are considerably less.
Exactly, way less. And this is what we're looking at. This is how the media is all in on Kamala Harris. I mean, you can see by
that
these
goes
numbers.
to show you a lot, though. It's like, who does big business actually support? Who do the millionaires and billionaires actually support? Clearly not Trump. It's clearly Kamala. The powers that be want Kamala Harris to be in there because they know Trump's going to start doing things to bring in domestic, bring prosperity back to the states. Is where big businesses don't care. They'll happily ship jobs and stuff over to China because they can pay people pennies on the dollar. In fact, they can pay people less than penny. They can have slave labor build all their stuff and then sell it to us over here for cheap, taking away a potential job market away from you, the American citizen. Sad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what else you got for me, buddy?
Oh, man, I've got so much. You've sent me so much. We'll just start with this one here. Is like just more like very big irony from the left. So Defiant L's has posted this. Kathy Hochul, this past year has made it clear that labor is the backbone of our communities. Whether it was nursing, teachers, or other essential workers. This hashtag Mayday, we support and thank you. Where we go down back to September 23rd, 2021. New York governor refusing to budge on vaccine mandate for nurses. You are replaceable.
Yeah, that's a good one from Defiant L's. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So this is another reason. It's like the extreme hypocrisy of the left is like, we don't want you. For instance, like we'll just go with the whole voter ID thing. Hey, we don't think that people should have to have IDs to vote, but you will have a vaccine card and you will show it everywhere you go if you want to work or travel.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So should we show our vaccine card when we want to vote? No, that's racist.
Yeah. No kidding. No kidding. Next one I have pulled up over here is one that you sent me. I'm not sure what he's talking about, but it's Steven Pinkering.
Yeah, why don't you switch the thing so you can have the box? You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean?
You can have the video playing underneath.
Oh, I see what you see. I see what you mean. I can do that. By the way, there's ways to hack doing that, making it edit for the shorts. So
I didn't know that.
we'll just leave it here. I'll leave it right here. I'll show you how to do it later.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, I'm gonna restart this and we'll get the sound going.
It's really, I think it's a disappointing and sad commentary that free speech has gotten the brand of a right-wing issue. Now, why should that be? There's no, by definition, it's just free speech, whether it's from the right or from the left. But people who defend and extol free speech, tend to be branded as right-wingers because of this, I think what you correctly identify as an ironic intolerance. I sometimes refer to the mythical place called the left pole. Now, just as when you're at the North Pole, all directions are south, the left pole is the mythical spot from which all directions are right. So any opinion that does not conform to this orthodoxy is branded a right-wing opinion, including people who are, by no stretch of the imagination, ideologues of any sort, including right-wing ideologues. I mean, it's really, I think it's a disappointing and sad commentary that free speech.
Yep, is a right-wing issue. Yep.
So again, I mean, what a great analysis he just gave right there. The left pole, like the North Pole, all directions are south. If you're on the left, all directions are right. So that's the level. That perfectly sums up what modern discourse has become between the Democrats and the Republicans. Like everything that the Democrats see, that if you're not in lockstep with what they want, you are far right. There is no direction but right. There's no the middle ground. There is no give and take. It's you are on the right. It's where people on the right can have rational dialogue and can disagree with each other and still work with each other and not despise each other. It's very, 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 very sad state of affairs. And again, it seems like with the government mandates coming, like with this Joe Rogan clip right here, this is scary what he's talking about in this video. So we'll give this a watch and then catch you on the tail end.
All right, let me refresh it, and we should be ready to go.
The Biden administration pushed through this new martial law thing.
Yeah.
This is very disturbing. Jamie, please Google this so we can find out what the actual law states. But it's DOD Directive 5240.01, giving the Pentagon power for the first time in history to use lethal force to kill Americans on U.S. soil who protest government policies.
What are they expecting?
5250.01, sounds right?
Is that what it is?
Sorry.
Did I tell you what it is? I'm sorry. 5240.01. DOD directive. This is from RFK Jr. Posted this on Twitter, and I'm finding out about it because people are blowing me up about it. That's fucking terrifying. That is a terrifying thing to push through for the first time in U.S. history, giving the military the ability to shoot and kill American citizens. Thing that the Biden.
Yikes. So there you go, folks. Again, these are the policies that people thought Trump would be installing. Joe Biden just quietly pushed this bill on through. Remember, Democrats, accuse your rival of what you yourself are doing. Joe Biden passed this law. Don't pretend that Trump did this. Don't pretend. Again, Trump was in office 4 years ago. If he was going to do something to his political rivals, he would have done it in his 4 years in office. Biden just passed legislation that basically guarantees that he can attack his political rivals. He can tell the military and to shoot American citizens. That's unprecedented. That's unheard of.
Yep.
That should terrify you, Democrats. And like I said, if Trump wins, he'll have power. He'll have power to use this law now, and you'll have no one to blame but Joe Biden and yourselves.
100%, and that is terrifying. I mean, we can only pray that the National Guard, for whatever place that they would just not follow that order.
Yeah, I mean, you better pray whatever officer is in charge of that National Guard unit or even that active Army military unit would exercise caution when potentially harming his fellow citizens. I know I would as an officer in the military, but you know, there are people who are in charge of units and stuff that aren't very smart, don't think things through. So let's don't pretend that mistakes and bad things can't happen when you give people the authority to do something like that. And now that law protects them. So again, accuse your rivals of what you yourself are doing. Democrats, your president just passed a law that allows the military to shoot American citizens on American soil.
Yep.
So, yikes. But yeah, go ahead. What else you got, buddy?
Well, this is really the last thing I have here before we can kind of wrap up the show. But
Okay.
I just thought this was indicative of
The left.
the left and their argument on abortion. But here is a person has some type of medical emergency. To me, it looks like they're having a seizure.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a bunch of abortion doctors up on stage making speeches. I mean, like lots of them. There's at least like 20 doctors up there.
Mm-hmm.
And this person having a medical emergency, and they start calling for help, and the doctors just stand there and do nothing, which, as we've seen from what we've seen from the abortion thing, abortion doctors only kill things, and or
Leave
if
them
they
to
are
die.
alive, they go, we'll just make them comfortable.
While they die.
And they'll have a discussion, and they'll decide whether or not they want to let it live or not. Now, just like how freaking ironic here, and I just thought this was hilarious to watch. So, whereas Trump starts dancing and has his little thing where the left was making fun of him because he was dancing at a speech and he didn't give a speech. Well, it's because somebody in the audience had a medical emergency and he stopped his speech to get the person taken care of, and they just played music while the situation is being taken care of. And then this happens, and what are Harris and Walls doing? Nothing. Nothing. So anyway, we'll go ahead and play this.
Ill and dying. nationwide. I think someone needs some medical assistance over here.
Aren't you a doctor?
You're the doctor. Yeah, it just restarts. I mean, that's ridiculous.
From here on out, we should never refer to abortionists as doctors. If you're in the medical field and you became an abortion doctor, you're not a doctor. You're an abortionist. You're a murderer. You're a killer. Doctors, that term should be left to people who help people. You know, it's like, and the left would be like, they help women kill babies because they don't want to have them. It's like, that's not helping. Regardless of what you think they might be helping a woman have an easier life, it's still abortion. It's the sacrament of Satan. It's these doctors convincing women that, oh no, this baby will be a big inconvenience to you in your life. Why don't you just get rid of it? You know, you don't need to have a baby to you don't need to, I mean, you made a bad decision. You don't have to be responsible. Move on. Don't worry about the kid. We got bigger things to worry about. So, again, do not refer to abortionists as doctors. They are not doctors. They are abortionists. And abortionist should just be, you know, the definition of abortionist should be #killer, #murderer. Because that's what they are.
Yeah.
Doctors help people. Abortionists don't. Abortionists convince young, impressionable women that abortion's the right answer, and they convince them to do terrible things. Let's not pretend anything else. Let's not pretend that they're actually helping people. They're not. The world is a better place with you in it. The world is a better place with babies in it. So that's where we're at with that right now. So I guess we'll wrap up here with our kind of final video and our final thoughts. But that's about all I've got for you for today, folks. This is the Twins with Owasso Live. This was the Morning Loop. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you too can stay in the loop. But that's about all I've got for you today. God bless you.
See you later, everybody.
What is the weirdest thing about conservatives?
That they're brainwashed, they're all cultish.
You think so?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what's something you agree with conservatives on?
Not a damn thing anymore.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Can't name one?
No.
Immigration, free speech, First, Second Amendment?
First and Second Amendment, sure.
Okay. All right, so we have some agreement. What is the weirdest thing about